French radio presents The Liberation of Paris. This radio montage has been produced by Pierre Schaeffer from authentic recordings made on the spot during the historic events that follow. These first recordings of the French underground radio station were achieved through the close cooperation of a group of radio technicians of the resistance forces. The program is dedicated to the memory of Alfred Leluc, chief engineer, captured and tortured by the Gestapo and finally shot on August 3rd. English narration is by Orson and Emlen Etting.
The voice of the poet is no sacred, no delicate, nor mystic instrument. Throughout recorded history, it has been the voice of man, expressing his fears, his hopes, and his loyalties. In 1940, in the country of France, men had urgent, bitter need of such voices. To the cause for which millions of French men, women, and children were about to dedicate their lives came the voices of their poets, speaking on scraps of paper secretly printed and distributed, speaking on discs recorded in darkened, barricaded cellars. Now, hear their voices as they summon those who love free France to their appointed task.
Whitman, animé par son peuple. Hugo appelant aux armes. Rimbaud aspiré par la commune. Mayakovsky exalté, exaltant, c'est vers l'action que les poètes à la vue immense sont, un jour ou l'autre, entraînés.
It was not only the great poets of France who spoke, but the people. All took a hand in expressing the spirit of resistance. Anne Marly sings the popular ballad of the underground forces.
Les Allemands étaient chez moi, on m'a dit résigne-toi, mais je n'ai pas pu. Et j'ai repris mon arme.
The Germans took my house. I was told to be resigned, but I couldn't, and I took up arms again.
J'ai changé 100 fois de nom, j'ai perdu femme et enfants, mais j'ai tant d'amis. Et j'ai la France entière.
I have changed so many times my name. I have lost my wife and children, but I have so many friends in the whole of France.
Un bon vieux dans un grenier, toute une nuit nous a cachés, les Allemands l'ont su. Il est mort sans histoire. Hier encore nous étions trois, il ne reste plus que moi, et je voudrais voir le jour de la victoire.
There were 3 of us last night, but now there's only me. And I should like to see, by New Year's, victory.
Personne ne m'a demandé d'où je viens et où je vais, vous qui le savez. Effacez mon passage.
No one has asked me whence I come and where I go. You who know it, hide my traces.
Nous verrons sauter les ponts, incendier les garnisons, ouvrir les prisons, revivre nos villages.
We shall see our bridges blasted and the garrisons to burn. But the prison doors shall open and our villages revive.
Le vent souffle sur les tombes, la liberté reviendra, on nous oubliera. Nous rentrerons dans l'ombre.
The wind blows over the graves. Liberty will return. We shall be forgotten and fade to shadows.
As the slow days of the resistance drag into years, even France cannot count her dead in numbers. There is no bookkeeping for those killed by bullet and torture, for those deported, for those who may come back in body, yet not in mind or spirit. It is known only that the resistance movement in France has suffered more casualties than did her armies in 1940, more than the Allies in their French campaign. The slow days drag on. Alert ears strain for the muffled words coming faintly from clandestine radio. Liberation is now counted in hours. The signal, when it comes, will be the same musical symbol of France's freedom as the Nazis and the men of Vichy have usurped and befouled during their years of tyranny.
Marseillaise des jours de gloire, Marseillaise des jours de détresse, Marseillaise de 1940, nous ne vous avions plus entendu depuis certains étés, nous n'avons pas pu couper les blés d'Alsace.
O Marseillaise of days of glory, Marseillaise of our distress, we had no longer heard you since that certain summer, and we parted Marseillaise in sad farewell. You had followed us through all the battles of our retreat, at Beauvais in flames, at L'Isle-Adam, where roses withered in our pools of blood.
Où les roses flétrissaient dans les flaques de notre sang, mais au travers de Paris stupéfié.
But over a Paris on which the dust of battle reigned, you were no longer on our airwaves, but a tolling mockery.
Souvenez-vous.
Remember.
Souvenez-vous.
Remember.
C'était la France crispée au pli de chaque rivière.
France contracted by the wrinkles of her rivers, strangled at every fallen bridge. National highways only serve to spread the misery of this country.
Comme une immense gare de triage pour la misère de ce pays.
Remember.
Souvenez-vous, la radio est
Our expiring radio played your record till our hearts were bled.
C'était le début du calvaire.
It was the road to Calvary. The Paris German radio.
Souvenez-vous.
Don't forget.
Souvenez-vous.
Don't forget.
Le savions-nous, ô Marseillaise?
We did not know, Marseillaise, how long you would be put to sleep. The Vichy radio.
Rappelez-vous.
Remember.
Rappelez-vous.
Remember.
Le savions-nous?
How could we know, Marseillaise, that you would be betrayed, abandoned beyond our wildest dread?
Concevable.
Don't forget.
Rappelez-vous, un visage de pierre,
A face of
une
stone,
bouche sans voix,
a speechless mouth,
réduit à l'arc de vos triomphes.
confined to your triumphal arch. You waited.
Entendez-vous?
Listen.
Entendez-vous?
You hear?
On frappe,
Someone knocks.
on a frappé.
Someone has knocked. The Allied radio speaks.
Est-ce vous,
Is it you,
Marseillaise?
Marseillaise of the liberation?
De la libération?
The slow days drag on. It is August 10th, 1944. While German tanks prowl grimly through the streets of Paris, the call to arms is broadcast from a secret studio. The people's hour has come. The people's voice has summoned them to action. Now the clock moves faster, and other voices are heard. On August 23rd, a man fighting on the barricades in the Place de la Republique speaks to his countrymen, his words punctuated by the staccato rhythm of gunfire. It is the voice of Georges Bidault, Foreign Minister of the Provisional Government.
La France se retrouve plus grande au travers de l'épreuve. Elle connaît aujourd'hui ce sacrifice, sur lesquels elle peut compter, qui sont le nombre, qui sont l'élite, qui sont la nation.
While Georges Bidault is at the barricades, the underground radio station launches over the airways a signal for all Paris to arise.
Radiodiffusion de la nation française.
Hidden in the center of Paris, men and women are working all night in a clandestine radio station, while German tanks rumble through the streets outside.
En bas, dans le studio, quelques FSI du quartier montent la garde.
Downstairs in the studio, men of the resistance forces keep the watch.
Faute d'armes, ils chantent.
Lacking arms, they sing.
Leur Marseillaise se mêle au bruit d'un char qui tire dans le quartier.
Their Marseillaise is mingled with the firing of the German tanks outside.
Il est 11 heures du soir.
It was 11 o'clock p.m.
Allô? Oui? C'est moi.
Ah, bonjour, cher ami.
Qu'est-ce qu'il a?
Eluard.
Ah bon, bonsoir.
Très gentil, votre appel aux armes, je viens de l'entendre.
Oui.
Mais les combattants sont depuis longtemps dans la rue.
Ouais,
Faut-il que nous descendions dans le noir, comme ça, avec nos couteaux de cuisine, et 11 heures?
That was full Eluard the poet. He called to ask if, lacking arms, he should go down to the street with kitchen knives.
Alors, le Beaumarchais, dans le boulevard de Beaumarchais.
Ils sont sur le boulevard de Beaumarchais. Oui.
Et le boulevard Charles-Édouard.
Oui.
This time, the guns are firing from the Place de la République, where the battle rages between the FFE and the Germans.
Mais dès que la fatigué, comme c'est quand même ça de ce moment-là, on va faire tout de suite là. Et dès que je le rafale, on va même se faire un peu ça d'ailleurs.
Nothing prevents the people of the quarter from discussing the progress of the battle.
J'ai déjà ce matin, quand les Américains s'attendaient d'aller pour... On y passe son affaire.
Next day, after a night of battle and waiting, rumors are circulated announcing the Allies are at the gates of Paris.
Ouvrez le jeu.
The windows are thrown open. The bells of the liberation of the guns are ringing. They spread like wildfire from church to church. That same night, the radio of Free France, having found again its voice, launches its first broadcast in the direction of England and America. A Dutch boy who could speak English is pressed into service.
Hello, New York. Hello, London. Hello, New York. Hello, London. This is the French National Broadcaster. We take pleasure in bringing you the greetings of Paris that is fighting, but that is also at the eve of its liberation. The Germans are still occupying certain points of the capital, but we have already the possibility of defeat to you. Achtung, das Hauptquartier der Republique gibt bekannt. Ein deutscher Kommandant in Colombo verabschiedet sich.
The broadcast has been interrupted to send out a threat of reprisal to a German officer who has been reported to be preparing to shoot his hostages.
Folgende deutsche Personen erschossen werden. 5 Soldaten der Wehrmacht, 10 Mitglieder der Waffen-SS und 10 weibliche Angehörige deutscher Dienststellen. Dear listeners, we excuse us for this interruption. We do not have a war every night, and not every night we can speak freely to free America. Hello, New York. Hello, Quebec. Hello, London. Good night to you all.
After the fighting and wild confusion of the final days, Thursday night is filled with waiting and breathless expectancy. The dawn of August 25th finds Paris radiant in a tender mist. Men wait inside the gates of the capital and all along the highways. Tanks, jeeps, army vehicles of all kinds throb on the roads. Then suddenly through the city gates rush the tanks of General Leclerc's armored division and British and American forces. They invade the streets as the populace rushes from the houses, forming a gesticulating, yelling tide. This opens up like the Red Sea to let the liberators enter. Flags fly from the windows, flowers are tossed. Women grab the soldiers as they ride by and smother them with kisses. But suddenly the guns go off. The tanks go into action, and the petals on the stones mingle with blood. The sun beats down on a fighting and delirious city. By afternoon, General de Gaulle finally arrives and is greeted by Georges Bidault and members of the provisional government at the Hôtel de Ville amid the roars of the crowd.
Et puis, mon général, j'avais préparé encore beaucoup d'autres choses, mais je crois que c'est inutile. Il me semble que nous n'en sommes pas à échanger tant de paroles. C'est une chose si belle que nous soyons ici rassemblés au cœur de la cité, le jour de la Saint-Louis, près de Notre-Dame de Paris, là où Sainte-Geneviève veillait, là où nos anciens, depuis des siècles, ont défendu la dignité et l'indépendance.
Bidault welcomes to Paris a comrade in arms. It is so wonderful, says Bidault, that you come here today, to the heart of our city, close to Notre Dame, close to the very spot where our forefathers guarded France throughout the centuries.
Grâce à vous, grâce à nos combattants magnifiques, à ce peuple dont on a douté, et qui était au-dessus de tout ce qu'on pouvait espérer de lui. Nous avons trouvé la grandeur, l'indépendance et la fierté. Nous avons trouvé aussi la liberté. Et son nom, chez nous, s'appelle République. Vive le gouvernement provisoire de la République.
The tall man knocks. When he speaks, his voice is low, can scarcely be heard above the acclamations of the crowd as they scream, De Gaulle, vive De Gaulle. The tall man continues. His voice rises, sure, and triumphant.
Hommes et femmes, qui sommes ici, chez nous, dans Paris, levés, debout, pour se libérer, et qui a su le faire de ses mains. Non, nous ne dissimulerons pas cette émotion profonde et sacrée. Il y a là des minutes, nous le sentons tous, qui dépassent chacune de nos pauvres vies.
The evening of the final day of liberation finds the people singing in the streets. Everyone could not get to the Hôtel de Ville, but they can embrace the soldiers who have come so far to free them. The French, English, and American boys are mobbed in the streets, and particularly in the Grand Boulevard. Here's a recording I made there in the midst of all this ecstatic rejoicing.
Depuis que nous sommes rentrés ce matin par la porte d'Orléans, c'était un grand spectacle de tous les côtés. Maintenant, après toute cette journée extraordinaire par laquelle on a passé, je vais vous prendre au Grand Boulevard de Paris. Et je vais demander aux Parisiens de vous parler eux-mêmes et vous dire ce qu'ils en pensent.
Bravo! Voilà. Bravo! Bravo, l'université! Nous sommes bien contents d'avoir les Américains à Paris et on va...
Et les Français, ils ont dit ce matin.
Ah oui, mais comment? Les Anglais aussi!
C'était essentiellement les Américains que nous attendions, les Anglais.
Bravo, ok! Nous sommes tellement contents. Oh, nous sommes tellement contents. Very happy.
Je suis très émotionné de voir toute cette belle armée qui nous fait réellement notre joie à tous. Et je crie vive la France et vive les Alliés. Merci à tous. Voilà comme c'est à Paris ce soir.
Merci à tous.
This is a PWD dispatch for BBC European Service and Answer.
Minuit.
Midnight. At the final hour between the day of release and that of apotheosis. All fires have been put out. Paris, prostrate from joy, is pitch. Sleeps deep. This magic silence Is it the resting of the seventh day? Deserted arteries. Fantastic emptiness. Can it be there are no Germans left? How strange. It is so dark one cannot grope the skyline. Where are we standing? Who cares? Searchlights. Full strength. Then, as in some fairy tale, in double shafts of light, come stealthy, quiet, round the Arc de Triomphe, in coupled crown, like some triumphal bridal ring, the tanks. The tanks of Leclerc. Some 12 hours later, in bright sun, at the same spot, Captain Schumann speaks.
Honneur et patrie, voici le général de Gaulle. Cette annonce que je vous ai si souvent faite, je ne la récite pas, je la lis sous l'Arc de Triomphe, je la lis presque sur l'Arc de Triomphe. Savez-vous que depuis 3 ans, tout près de la dalle sacrée reposait un drapeau sur lequel était inscrit un mot en prévision du jour qui allait luire enfin où il devait venir ici.
Do you know that for 3 years, beside this unknown soldier's slab, a flag in waiting lay, on which these words, honor and country, were inscribed, awaiting for the day, this very day, when General de Gaulle should come. Now, the general triumphantly descends the Champs-Elysees on foot. What an opportunity for snipers on the rooftops. The mob is won over by his courage and faces so much danger. But at the Place de la Concorde, firing suddenly breaks out.
Femme qui semble dangereusement blessée au visage.
A woman is
Il
carried
la
by
met
on
justement
a
à l'abri
stretcher.
près de la voiture de la radio. Vous entendez les coups de feu qui sont tirés par des batteries qui sont mises à tirer contre. Il y en a qui perdent pas le nord, ils viennent me faucher mon vélo.
No traitor's bullet has the tall man's name on it. Not on the 26th day of August in the year 1945. Not as he kneels in prayer in the cathedral of Notre Dame. The drama of those minutes are now recorded. They are permanently inscribed in the book of man's will to be free. A young reporter, standing near de Gaulle, as he knelt in prayer, has so recorded them.
République. Il se tient droit sous la mitraille, il est vraiment magnifique. Les gens se camouflent sous les chaises. Mais heureusement, mes chers militaires, tout au moins dans l'église, il n'y a pas, tout au moins dans l'église, il n'y a pas de victimes jusqu'à présent. Les coups de feu s'évitent toujours. Salut.
Days later, on August 29th, headed by General Omar Bradley, the American forces parade across Paris. Down the Champs-Elysees they come, riding in jeeps, half-tracks, lorries, and tanks. Boys from Idaho, Tennessee, Georgia, Indiana, California, and Maine. Hour after hour, they pour down the avenues lined with cheering crowds. For the first time since the German occupation, General de Gaulle addresses the people of his country. For the first time since the German occupation, General de Gaulle addresses the people of his country over the airwaves on their own soil, from the capital of France.
La France rentre à Paris chez elle. Elle y rentre sanglante, mais elle y rentre bien résolue. Elle y rentre éclairée par d'immenses leçons, mais elle y rentre plus certaine que jamais de ses devoirs et de ses droits.
France comes home again, bloodstained, strongly determined, and enlightened by her bitter lessons.
De la guerre, l'ennemi chancelle.
The enemy totters, but it is not yet entirely driven from the land.
Il ne suffira pas que nous l'ayons avec le concours de nos chers et admirables alliés chassés de chez nous.
It is not enough to drive the enemy from our country with the aid of our good and admirable allies. After all that has gone before, we must enter the enemy's territory as conquerors.
Still faster run the hours and the days of liberation for Paris. De Gaulle, the returning native, in turn plays host to his visiting allies. Under the Arc de Triomphe, a friend of the New France, speaks to her people. The commander-in-chief of the Allied Expeditionary Forces, General Eisenhower.
We came to deliver the coup de grace to the last remaining elements of the enemy here.
While General Eisenhower speaks, the tricolore waves from the Ministère de la Marine, the Chambre des Députés, the Arc de Triomphe, flanked by the Union Jack and the Star-Spangled Banner. Bunting alive in the wind allows the eye to glimpse beneath, engraved in stone, the motto of the French Republic, Liberté, Égalité, Fraternité. At dusk, the stars begin to shine, but it is not only toward the stars in the sky that the thought of the Parisians is turned. Stars of earth, 48 stars of the Spangled Banner, how much you stand for in the minds of Frenchmen. Despite the wastes of sea between us and our different tongues, there is one word that is the same for both of us and which our mouths pronounce alike. This is the word resistance poets inscribed on secret sheets long before it could shine forth again. This is the very word for which all free men hope: America will always be the home. Upon my school day notebooks, on my desk and on the trees, on the sand and in the snow, I write your name. On all the pages red, on all bleached sheets, stone without paper or ash, I write your name. On the fields, on the horizon, on the wings of gulls, and on the windmill shadows, I write your name. On our crumbled shelters, on every shattered lighthouse, on the walls of my despair, I write your name. On absence without desire, on naked solitude, on the steps down to the grave, I write your name. On health restored, on risk dispelled, on hope without remembrance, I inscribe your name. And on the strength of this one word, I start my life anew, for I am born to know you and to name you Liberty.